Well, it is Thursday, and you know what that means. We're throwing it back and looking at another local historical marker.
Joining us this morning is our favorite, Lori Kent with the Local Loop podcast. Good morning.
Good morning, guys.
So tell us what we have in store for today.
Well, I'm kind of interested in this one. If you're familiar with small towns, you might know that sometimes there are, well, everyone's kind of in each other's business, aren't they? And sometimes there can be little rivalries. So what happens when bad blood turns into cold-blooded murder?
Whoa.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
So this small town was founded in 1888 by Benjamin Richards, and he names it after his two sons, Benjamin and Clarence. So the town of Ben Clare is born. Wow. So Ben Clare is supposed to be a small town forever. It's right on the railroad. It's supposed to be a place for farmers to go and get supplies and ship things, receive things, stuff of that nature. And the town site eventually gets sold to Frank Bowen. Now, Frank Bowen ends up being a little bit like Mr. Potter from It's a Wonderful Life. Not a very likable character, and he definitely believes that people in town should just pay his prices if they want to live in his town. So people don't like him, and it's not going great. Sometimes the town even makes the local newspapers for arguments that are happening in town. So in February of 1903, Frank and the station agent at the railroad station get in a little bit of a tiff. Now, this is pretty familiar territory for Frank. He pretty much has a disagreement with everybody in town. So much so that the town actually moved. They got so sick of paying Frank's prices that they literally picked up their buildings and moved them to north of town. And they declared that North Ben Clare. So again,
we love
yeah,
it.
yeah, exactly. It's wonderful. But everybody in town doesn't like him, but so far nobody's murdered him. But that won't last forever. In February of 1903, the station agent and Frank get in a disagreement about whether he should have to pay for them to load and unload something that took them a long time. The station agent then tells him, hey, come over here, you actually have a package. So Frank goes over to sign for the package, and as he's signing for the package, the station agent shoots and kills him. He actually also wounds Frank's son, I'm assuming accidentally, at the same time. I hope so, but Frank's dead. He's gone, that's it for Frank. And I'm assuming this is a very awkward time for the town, where it's just like, oh, we don't like Frank, but gosh, that's pretty wrong.
Yeah.
Like,
and back then, it honestly was a little bit different times too.
Definitely.
It wasn't like the Wild West, but it was,
it was
you know,
it was something
closer.
out of that.
Yeah, it was
Closer
way closer. And so the station agent does get arrested. He is taken to trial, and in trial he's found not guilty by reason of insanity. And he is sent to the asylum in Yankton. And I guess I just assumed like he would be there for a while, but that's not true. I found a newspaper article from February of 1905, so just 2 years later, and it states that the station agent was released some time ago.
Makes you wonder, like, were they like, we were kind of okay with what he did.
Right, yeah, and they said his insanity was all cleared up, so he just headed right on out, and he kind of disappears into history. And so does the town of Ben Clare. It sort of just kind of evaporates over the years. What's left is this great historical marker and a beautiful church, which the church has a wonderful, less murdery history, so we'll have to go back there sometime.
Yeah. I mean, it's sad because it's like it had such love in the name, and it sounded like it was going to be a perfect rural small town, and then it ended with some darkness. But
very interesting.
Yeah, and that's
sure.
in Minnehaha County, correct? It's just by Valley Springs.
It's right by Valley Springs.
Okay. Wow.
Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for being with us
Absolutely.
today, Lori. Always appreciate it.
Yeah.
And we'll be right back after the break.